everyone, it's Brittany, and welcome to another week of Health Through Literacy storytelling session. This week, we're going to read the story, A Bad Case of Stripes by David Shannon, and read today by myself, Brittany Mitchell. Before we begin our story today, have you ever avoided eating your favorite food because your classmates or maybe your friends didn't like it? That can happen sometimes. I know when I was a kid, I loved and I still love broccoli, but I would avoid eating broccoli in my lunch and save it until I got home because a lot of kids my age didn't like vegetables, and I didn't want them thinking that I was different. Have you ever avoided doing something you love to do just because you were worried what others might think? That's normal too. I love to dance, and sometimes I've avoided dancing because I was worried that people might not like my dance moves. What worries do you have on the first day of school? So think about your first day of school. What worries were going through your mind on that day? Or if you're in kindergarten, what worries do you have for starting school? It's normal to be worried on the first day of school. Even teachers are worried on the first day of school. We're worried that you guys might not like the activities we've had planned for you. We're worried that maybe somebody might get sick, and we don't want you guys to get sick on the first day of school or ever. We want you guys to come every day to school and learn. So we even have worries too. And that's normal. My last question is, what does respect mean to you? The word respect, what does that mean to you? Well, to me, as a teacher, respect means listening to directions the first time given. Also, respect means listening to others, not just the teachers, listening to your classmates, to your parents or adults. Respect also means helping each other out. So respect can mean a lot of different things. When I read the story, A Bad Case of Stripes today, I want you guys to pay attention to the illustrations or pictures in the story. And if you see a color on our character's stripes today that you're wearing, I want you guys to jump up and down like a jumping bean. Let's get started with our story, A Bad Case of Stripes by David Shannon. A Bad Case of Stripes by David Shannon. Camellia Cream loved lima beans, but she never ate them. All of her friends hated lima beans, and she wanted to fit in. Camellia was always worried about what other people thought of her. Today she was fretting even more than usual. It was the first day of school, and she couldn't decide what to wear. There were so many people to impress. She tried on 42 outfits, but none of them seemed quite right. She put on a pretty red dress and looked in the mirror. Then she screamed. Her mother ran into the room, and she screamed too. "Oh my heavens," she cried, "you're completely covered with stripes." This was certainly true. Camellia was striped from head to toe. She looked like a rainbow. Miss Cream felt Camelia's forehead. "Do you feel all right?" she asked. "I feel fine," Camellia answered, "but just look at me." "You get back into bed this instant," her mother ordered. "You're not going to school today." Camellia was relieved. She didn't want to miss the first day of school, but she was afraid of what the other kids would say, and she had no idea what to wear with those crazy stripes. That afternoon, Dr. Bumble came to examine Camellia. "Most extraordinary," he exclaimed. "I've never seen anything like it. Are you having any coughing, sneezing, runny nose, aches, pains, chills, hot flashes, dizziness, drowsiness, shortness of breath, or uncontrollable twitching?" No, Camellia told him. I feel fine. Well then, Dr. Bumble said, turning to Mrs. Cream, I don't see any reason why she shouldn't go to school tomorrow. Here's some ointment that should help clear up those stripes in a few days. If it doesn't, you know where to reach me. And off he went. The next day was a disaster. Everyone at school laughed at Camellia. They called her Camellia Crayon and Night of the Living Lollipop. She tried her best to act as if everything were normal, but when the class said the Pledge of Allegiance, her stripes turned red, white, and blue, and she broke out in the stars. The other kids thought this was great. One yelled out, "Let's see some purple polka dots." Sure enough, Camellia turned all purple polka dotty. Someone else shouted, "Checkerboard!" and a pattern of squares covered her skin. Soon everyone was calling out different shapes and colors, and poor Camellia was changing faster than you can change channels on a TV. That night, Mr. Harms, the school principal, called. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Cream," he said. "I'm going to have to ask you to keep Camellia home from school. She's just too much of a distraction, and I've been getting calls from the other parents. They're afraid those stripes may be contagious." Camellia was so embarrassed. She couldn't believe that 2 days ago everyone liked her. Now nobody wanted to be in the same room with her. Her father tried to make her feel better. "Is there anything I can get you, sweetheart?" he asked. "No, thank you," sighed Camellia. What she really wanted was a nice plate of lima beans, but she had been laughed at enough for one day. Well, yes, I see," Dr. Bumble mumbled when Mr. Cream phoned the next day. "I think I'd better bring in the specialist. We'll be right over." About an hour later, Dr. Bumble arrived with 4 people in long white coats. He introduced them to the Creams. "This is Dr. Gorp, Dr. Sponge, Dr. Cricket, and Dr. Young." Then the specialist went to work on Camellia. They squeezed and jabbed, tapped and tested. It was very uncomfortable. "Well, it's not the mumps," concluded Dr. Gorp. "Or the measles," said Dr. Sponge. "Definitely not chickenpox," put in Dr. Cricket. "Or sunburn," said Dr. Young. "Try these," said the specialist. They handed her a bottle filled with different colored pills. "Take one of each before bed," said Dr. Gorp. Then they filed out the front door, followed by Dr. Bumble. That night, Camellia took her medicine. It was awful. When she woke up the next morning, she did feel different, but when she got dressed, her clothes didn't fit right. She looked in the mirror, and there, staring back at her, was a giant, multicolored pill with her face on it. Dr. Bumble rushed over as soon as Mrs. Cream called, but this time, instead of the specialist, he brought the experts. Dr. Gord and Mr. Mellon were the finest scientific minds in the land. Once again, Camellia was poked, prodded, and looked at and listened to. The experts wrote down lots of numbers. Then they huddled together and whispered. Dr. Gord finally spoke. "It might be a virus," he announced with authority. Suddenly, fuzzy little virus balls appeared all over Camellia. "Or possibly some form of bacteria," said Mr. Mellon. Out popped squiggly little bacterial tails. "Or could be a fungus," added Dr. Gord. Instantly, Camellia was covered with different colored fungus blotches. The experts looked at Camellia, then at each other. "We need to go over these numbers again back at the lab," Dr. Gord explained. "We'll call you when we know something." But the experts didn't have a clue, much less a cure. By now, the TV news had found out about Camellia. Reporters from every channel were outside her house telling the story of the bizarre case of the incredible changing kid. Soon, a huge crowd was camped out on the front lawn. The creams were swamped with all kinds of remedies from psychologists, allergists, herbalists, nutritionists, psychics, an old medicine man, a guru, and even a veterinarian. Each so-called cure only added to poor Camelia's strange appearance until it was hard to even recognize her. She sprouted roots and berries and crystals and feathers and a long furry tail, but nothing worked. One day, a woman who called herself an environmental therapist claimed she could cure Camellia. Close your eyes, she said. Breathe deeply and become one with your room. I wish you hadn't said that, Camellia groaned. Slowly, she started to melt into the walls of her room. Her bed became her mouth, her nose was a dresser, and 2 paintings were her eyes. The therapist screamed and ran from the house. What are we going to do? Cried Mrs. Cream. It just keeps getting worse and worse, she began to sob. At that moment, Mr. Cream heard a quiet little knock at the front door. He opened it, and there stood an old woman who was just as plump and sweet as a strawberry. Excuse me, she said brightly, but I think I can help. She went into Camellia's room and looked around. My goodness, she said with a shake of her head. What we have here is a bad case of stripes. One of the worst I've ever seen. She pulled a container of small green beans from her bag. Here, she said. These might do the trick. Are those magic beans? Asked Mrs. Cream. Oh my, no, replied the kind old woman. There's no such thing. These are just plain old lima beans. I'll bet you'd like some, wouldn't you? She asked Camellia. Camellia wanted a big heaping plateful of lima beans. More than just about anything. But she was still afraid to admit it. Yuck, she said. No one likes lima beans, especially me. Oh dear, the old woman said sadly. I guess I was wrong about you. She put the beans back in her bag and started toward the door. Camellia watched the old woman walk away. Those beans would taste so good, and being laughed at for eating them was nothing compared to what she's been going through. She finally couldn't stand it. Wait! She cried. The truth is, I really love lima beans. I thought so, the old woman said with a smile. She took a handful of beans and popped them into Camellia's mouth. Said Camellia. Suddenly, the branches, feathers, and swiggly tails began to disappear. Then the whole room swirled around. When it stopped, there stood Camellia, and everything was back to normal. I'm cured, she shouted. Yes, said the old woman. I knew the real you was in there somewhere. She patted Camellia on the head. Then she went outside and vanished into the crowd. Afterward, Camellia wasn't quite the same. Some of the kids at school said she was weird, but she didn't care a bit. She ate all the lima beans she wanted and never had even a touch of stripes again. The end. Alright guys, now for the after story questions for today's story, A Bad Case of Stripes by David Shannon. My first question is, why was Camellia afraid to let others know that she liked lima beans? Do you remember from the story? Cool, remember, Camellia didn't want others to know that she liked lima beans because everybody else didn't like lima beans, and she was she was worried what other people might think of her. My second question is, how does Camellia feel when other classmates laugh at her? Well, remember from the story, Camellia had to get sent home because she was a distraction, and she was embarrassed because she had all her classmates and peers laughing at her stripes. My next question is, do you think Camelia's classmates are bullying her? Well, remember, when bullying is one-sided, so the other person isn't fighting back and it's only one-sided. So in the story, Camellia wasn't saying things to other people were just saying it to Camellia. So when we witness somebody saying things about others, we should, maybe if we can, intervene and say that's not nice, or if we can't intervene, we should tell an adult. My next question is, which was the most effective way of curing Camelia's stripes? Remember, somebody special came to Camelia's house, and this person helped cure Camelia's stripes. And what was that? Do you remember? Remember, it was lima beans that helped cure Camelia's stripes. What does Camellia learn? Do you think she learned her lesson at the end of the story? And what was that lesson? Well, remember, Camellia learned to just be herself. So at the end of the story, we learned that Camellia just ate lima beans, and she didn't care if other people thought she was weird for eating lima beans. So we should always try to be ourselves and do things that we love to do and eat things that we love to eat. And I always tell my students, if we try new foods, don't yuck my yum. So some things that we like to eat, other people may not like to eat, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't eat them. Stay tuned for our curriculum connection today. And today's curriculum connection will be a language arts, so we're going to practice some of our writing, and we're also going to do a little bit of art in today's curriculum connection. Hey guys, now for our curriculum connection for today's story, A Bad Case of Stripes by David Shannon. Today's curriculum connection is going to be a language art, so we're going to practice our writing skills, and we're also going to do an art connection. So for today's curriculum connection, you'll need a piece of paper and something to write with, preferably a pencil. When we write with pencil, it's easy to erase our mistakes. And since we're doing art today, we'll also need something to color. So you can use crayons, markers, or colored pencils. So we're going to start off by folding our piece of paper into 4 sections. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our paper and we're going to fold it just a quarter way, hot dog style. So we're going to do our first bend. So we're just going to fold a little bit over, like a quarter, hot dog style. And then we're going to fold it again a little bit. And we're going to crease it. So now we have 1, 2, and we're going to come on this side. We could spin it around and fold it a quarter again. So you should have 4 sections. So fold it in half and crease it hot dog style. And then on the other side, fold it in half and crease it hot dog style. And you should have 4 sections. 1, 2, 3, 4. Once you have 4 sections, what I want you to write in one box is our character in today's story, Camellia. So, Camellia is spelled C-A-M-I-L-L-A. Camellia. And we're going to write the word appearance. Now, appearance is how someone looks, their outside traits. So how do you look? So we're going to describe today and draw today Camelia's appearance. So appearance is A-P-P-E-A-R-A-N-C-E. Appearance. A-P-P-E-A-R-A-N-C-E. Okay, so that is going to go in the first box. And I'm going to write the word outside. O-U-T-S-I-D-E. To remember, appearance means what you look like on the outside. And so your one section should say Camellia. I'm going to put apostrophe S. Camelia's appearance. So that's what she looks like on the outside. In the next box, I'm going to have you put my, M-Y, appearance. So you can look at the next, or the word in the first box to spell appearance, A-P-P-E-A-R-A-N-C-E. So my appearance. What do you look like? How would you describe yourself on the outside? What do you look like? We'll go over that in just a second. So in the second box, you should put my appearance. All right, now we're going to go to the third box. And on the third box, we're going to put Camellia's, so C-A-M-I-L-L-A apostrophe S. So you can use the first box to write Camellia's name again. But in this box, the third box, we're going to describe Camellia's character traits. So a character trait describes somebody on the inside, so their personality. And we're going to describe today Camellia's character traits. So character, C-H-A-R-A-C-T-E-R, traits, T-R-A-I-T-S, so T-R-A-I-T-S. So in the third box, you should write Camellia's character traits. And so we're going to describe Camellia's personality. And on the last box, we're going to write my, so your, M-Y, character traits. So we already spelled character. We can use the third box to help spell it. So my character traits. So the fourth box should say my character traits. So you're going to be describing your personality. So let's see, let's go to the first box. So in the first box is Camelia's appearance. So how does she look? How does the character look on the outside? How would you describe Camellia? Well, we're going to practice art by trying to draw Camellia. So if you can't draw her whole body, that's fine. You can draw her face, and we can describe Camellia. Okay, so Camellia, we're going to just draw a picture of a face. She has black, kind of wavy, curly hair. So let's draw her face, and let's draw some wavy hair. Wavy, kind of curly hair. Alright. And we're going to draw her eyes and her nose and her mouth. I'm even going to draw the thermometer on her mouth. She has a little thermometer that takes your temperature when you're sick. What else do we notice about Camellia? Well, I see that she likes to wear bows in her hair, so we can draw a little bow in her hair. And what else do we notice about how Camellia looks? Well, in this picture, she's very colorful, so we can draw her colorful stripes. Okay, and we can, if you have crayons or something to color with, you can color in those stripes in her hair and her bow. So just take some time to color in how Camelia's outside appearance looks. So we know she's very colorful, so we can do all these different colors on her. Making her so colorful, using all the different colors. All right, and we notice what color is her hair. We can color her hair black because her hair is black. So let me find a black crayon here. All right, so how does your Camelia's appearance look? This is mine. It doesn't have to be perfect, but remember, Camelia's appearance, when we hear the word appearance, that means what somebody looks like on the outside. So now, in the box next to it, we're gonna draw my appearance. So what do you look like? So I want you to draw in the second box what you look like. So if I'm going to draw myself, I'm going to draw my face and draw my eyes and my nose and my lips, and then, well, today my hair is up, so And then I got some hair down. And my hair is really long. Alright, so you're drawing your best picture of yourself. You can draw your face, or if you want, you can draw your whole body. Color in. So you can color your hair color. So I have some blonde in my hair and some brown in my hair. And my eyes are blue. So I'm going to color in my eyes. And I have red lips. So I'm going to color my lips red. And I have some blush on. Alright. So you're just going to draw a little picture of yourself. So that's a picture of me. That's my appearance, how I look on the outside. How do you look like on the outside? How long is your hair? How do you wear your hair? What color are your eyes? Do you like to wear anything in your hair? Do you like your hair up? Do you like your hair short? Do you like your hair long? How would you describe how you look like on the outside? Once you've done that, once you drew a picture of yourself and Camellia, we're gonna write some words. And for my older students doing this activity, you can try to put the words describing into sentences. So if you can write sentences, remember we're gonna start with capital letters. So let's describe Camellia. Camellia is very colorful. So that's one way to describe Camelia's appearance. She's very colorful. Camellia has black hair. She wears bows in her hair. So try to write at least 3 to 4 words that describe Camelia's appearance, what she looks like on the outside. And if you can, try to make them into sentences. Remember, sentences start with capital letters and they end with a period, or if you're shouting something, they might end up in an exclamation point. My next is my appearance. So I want you to write 3 to 4 words describing how you look like on the outside, or you can do words. So I have long hair. I wear red lipstick. I have blue eyes. How are you going to describe your outside appearance? Remember to start with a capital letter and end with a period. Once you drew a picture of Camellia and your own outside appearance, we're going to move on to character traits. Now remember, character traits are describing somebody's inside, so their personality. So let's start with Camellia. What are some ways that we can talk about Camelia's inside, her personality? What are some things that describe her personality? Well, Camellia is shy. Well, she's worried. Let's put worried. She worries a lot, what other kids think of her. Camellia is worried. How else can we describe Camellia? Think about in the story. Camellia cares what others think. What else can we, or other word we can use to describe Camellia? How can we describe her personality? How is her inside? Well, we know that she also likes lima beans. Okay. Is there anything else that we can think about to describe Camellia's personality? Well, we also know she likes school because she didn't want to leave school. So maybe that can describe Camellia as smart, like school. Okay. So now that we have some words or sentences describing Camellia's character traits, how she is on the inside, let's describe your character traits. How would you describe yourself? How would you describe yourself to somebody that's never met you? Well, if I was describing myself, I can say, I am funny. I like to laugh and joke with my family and friends. I am smart. I like reading and participating in school. I am nice and sweet. So I do nice things for my friends and family and others. I like to take care of other people. And I am energetic. I like to do things with a lot of energy, so I'm energetic. I like to participate in dancing. I like to do so many different things that makes you move your body and go fast. So I am energetic. What are some words or sentences that describe your personality or your inside? Don't forget to write them down. Alright, so you should have all 4 boxes filled in. So the first one, you can compare Camellia's appearance on the outside and your outside appearance. And then we look at our inside. So we look at Camellia's character traits and our own character traits. Remember, it's always important to be yourself and to take care of yourself, and remember to do things that you like to do, even if other people might not like to do them. I hope you enjoyed today's story, A Bad Case of Stripes, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.